In the last lecture, we added user sign up. Now I want to add user sign in. Now, for user sign in, a request will reach this route here in the Node app. And there I also get the email and password with which the user tries to sign in. And now we need to write some logic to check whether that is some valid data. And for that, I first of all need to try to retrieve a user by that email from inside my database. So to do that, I get access to my database, call DB here, and then collection and get access to the user's collection. And then there, I want to find a user. Now for that, I want to find one element because, well, there should be only one user for that email anyways, if at all. And I'll search for the email, so a good thing that we created the index, and pass my email, which I extract here, as a value. So I'll search for a user with that email. And then I either get an error or I get, well, a user. In the case of an error, I will return this error here, a 401 error. In the case of a success, I'll get my user document here. But now we're not done. I still need to verify whether the password is correct. And for this, I'll use the bcrypt package, which I also used for hashing. And there is a compare method. And compare simply takes a string as an input and compares whether this can be the valid password, basically. So I pass in the password which I extracted from the incoming request, and I pass in the hashed password which is stored in the database. And then this package compares whether the hashed password could be based on that password the user passed in. So here I'll pass in the user doc password field. So basically that will be this hashed value here. So this is what I pass in, and I will actually return this because bcrypt compare also returns a promise. And if I return a promise in a then block, then I can simply chain another then block. And I could have done that down here too, by the way, because collection insert one returns a promise. So I could have returned this entire block and then simply added this then block after this first then block. You can do that if you want. Here I will do it. I return the compare function. Then I add another then block. And in here, I know that we found a user with that email and that the password is valid. So in here, I don't really care about the result, but I know that it should be correct. So let's grab that response and let's send a success response here with a message of authentication succeeded. And now here I'll also create a token. So I'll take that token constant, create that before I send the response, and then include that token in the response. And now let's see if that works or if there is some gotcha. So if I now restart my backend, let me switch to login, and let's try logging in with a wrong email. And I get an error. Now let's try logging in with the correct email, but a wrong password. And this succeeds. And the reason for that is that compare doesn't throw an error if it fails. Instead, it yields a result here. And I can console log that result to see what's inside there. So the result in the then block after comparing. If I now restart my backend server, and I'll log out again, and go to login mode, enter the correct email but the wrong password. You see, I get false as a result here. I don't get an error, I just get false as a result. So it basically tells me this did not succeed, but it throws no error. So I should simply check if result or if not result, so if this is false, and then I can simply throw an error here. And this will then not execute this code, but go into the catch block. So with that check added in the then block here, now if I restart my server and I go back to that login page one more time with the correct password but wrong, with the correct email but wrong password, I fail. Now let's try this with the correct password but wrong email. I fail. And now correct email and correct password. and I'm forwarded. And now we got this in place too. So that's a bunch of JavaScript logic, but also some logic where I fetch data from MongoDB. And this is basically it. Let me now conclude this in the next lecture.